This is Nightmare in Wisconsin. The trial of Taylor Schabusiness. Accusations of first-degree intentional homicide, strangulation, mutilation, dismemberment, and necrophilia. We bring you raw, unfiltered courtroom audio from the trial of Taylor Schabusiness. Nightmare in Wisconsin.
Anything to bring up before the jury comes back, Mr. Saunders?
No.
Mr. Freilich?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, be seated. You are the foreperson, is that correct?
Yeah.
If you could hand your verdict to the bailiff. Okay. The verdict seems to be in order, and I will read it as follows. Question 1. At the time the crimes were committed, did the defendant have a mental disease or mental defect? Answer, no. There's no answer then for question 2. It is dated this date, July 27, 2023, signed by the foreperson. There were no dissenting jurors. Is there a request by either of the parties to have the jury polled? Mr. Saunders?
No.
Mr. Freilich?
Yes.
All right. We did this the last time, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to poll you again. I'm going to start in the back. Ma'am, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
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 Sir, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Ma'am, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Start down here. Sir, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Ma'am, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Sir, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Sir, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Ma'am, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, your service in this case is now completed. Many jurors ask if they are allowed to discuss the case with others after receipt of the verdict. Because your role in this case is over, you are not prohibited from discussing the case with anyone. However, you should know that you do not have to discuss the case with anyone or answer any questions about it from anyone other than from the court. This includes the parties, lawyers, the media, or anyone else. If you do decide to discuss this case with anyone, I would suggest you treat any discussion with a degree of solemnity, such that whatever you do say, you would be willing to say in the presence of your fellow jurors or under oath here in open court in the presence of the parties. It is in the public interest that there be the utmost freedom of debate in the jury room, and that jurors be permitted to express their views without fear of incurring the anger of any litigants or criticism of any person. Please respect the privacy of the views of your fellow jurors. Finally, I'd like to address you before you leave, so if you can just wait in the jury room for a few minutes, I'd appreciate that. And you may confer with me at any time before answering any questions from anyone. I wanted you to know that as well. And with that, we excuse the jury. All rise for the jury. Be seated. Then, having received this verdict as well as the prior two, does the state have a motion regarding the verdicts? Mr. Saunders.
I'd ask the court to accept the verdicts and enter a judgment of conviction. I do have a certified copy of a judgment of conviction, case 20 CF 998, as the basis of the repeater allegation in counts 1, 2, and 3 of information.
Those will be received. Mr. Freilich, any response to that request?
Your Honor, I bring a motion for judgment notwithstanding the verdict. I believe there's ample testimony in the record that my client was suffering from a mental disease or defect at the time of these offenses, and that she lacked the substantial capacity to appreciate the wrongfulness of her conduct and conform her conduct to the requirements of the law. I'd ask that you consider all of the testimony from Dr. Lighton, who is a seasoned veteran in the field of psychology, and the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I've listened to the entirety of the testimony over these last several days, and specifically regarding today's testimony with regard to the responsibility phase. I'm satisfied that the evidence is sufficient to support the jury's verdict, and I'm going to adjudge the defendant guilty on count 1 of first-degree intentional homicide as a repeater, count 2, mutilating a corpse as a repeater, and count 3, third-degree sexual assault as a repeater. I'm going to revoke bond at this time then, and I'm going to order a pre-sentence investigation report be conducted. I'll order that be released no later than 1 week in advance of sentencing, and I'm looking to schedule a sentencing date. September 19th.
Let's check that out here. I already have a scheduled jury trial on September 19th and 20th, Your Honor.
September 26th.
I just have an inquiry. Would it be set for the whole day, for half a day? I've got hearings that day, but I could try to move some things around.
I understand, Mr. Fraley, and I'd appreciate it if you could do that. That's 2 months out. I have things on that day too, and you might be getting a phone call. You might be getting a phone call from my office asking if one of these cases can be moved, which will be easy to get permission for me to do that. But I would schedule it for 8:30 in the morning. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I would plan on the matter taking the entirety of the day.
Your Honor, I think I can move everything, but if it could it start at 9:30?
Sure, I don't have a problem with that. 9:30 in the morning. Mr. Saunders, I see you checking in the back with, I'm assuming with the crime victim. Is that an acceptable date to schedule?
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay. September 26th, 9:30 in the morning. I'll have that scheduled for the balance of the day. 9:30. He asked for it to start at 9:30.
Yes.
All right, very good. Anything else before we adjourn? Mr. Saunders?
No.
Mr. Freilich?
Your Honor, that pre-sentence report, if I only have a week, I can imagine this one's going to be long. Could I have a little bit more time, maybe get it 10 days before?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to order that it be released no later than 2 weeks in advance of sentencing. Okay. This hearing is about 2 months out. I didn't count the weeks, but I think we can get it done in that amount of time because they tell us they can get them done in 6 to 8 weeks. So that's what I'll order. Okay?
Thank you.
And with that, the matter is concluded. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're listening to True Crime Today in the Hidden Killers podcast continuous coverage of the trial of Taylor Shabusiness, Nightmare in Wisconsin. Press subscribe so you don't miss any of our continuing coverage. More raw trial audio next.